Welcome back to Flight Education. Today, we'll be learning about simple geometry, which is the study of shapes. The fancy math term for shapes is called a polygon, which just means many sides. So a polygon is essentially a closed shape with 3 or more straight sides. So for example, this would not be considered a polygon because it's open here, so it's not a closed shape. This, which is a circle, would not be considered a polygon either because it doesn't have any straight sides. These are curved. And also it technically just has one side, which, as you can see, doesn't work because a polygon has to have 3 or more sides. This, which is a triangle, is a polygon because it's a closed shape and it has 3 or more straight sides. Each polygon has different parts to it. So when we look at the square, which is also a polygon, this side is made up of a line segment, which is basically a line with 2 endpoints. The square also has what's called a vertex, which is the mathematical term for a corner, and the plural of vertex is vertices. At each corner, there's also going to be an angle, which is a way we have of measuring the vertex. The angle at the vertex can be small here, which means that the 2 line segments or 2 sides are really close together, or the angle can be big, which means that the 2 line segments are really far apart. Now, how do we name shapes? So the basic way we usually name shapes is by the number of sides they have. So for example, this is a pentagon. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, which is why it's called a pentagon, because this part, pent, means 5, and gon just means sides. So that same pattern continues on. So a hexagon has 6 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A heptagon has 7 sides, and an octagon has 8 sides. And you probably recognize this shape because you'll see it at stop signs. And that just keeps going on. There's nonagon, which means 9 sides, decagon, which means 10 sides, and it keeps going on, although we usually don't see shapes with that many sides. It's also important to remember that the only thing that defines whether or not the shape is a hexagon, for example, is if it has 6 sides. Now, this doesn't look like what we usually think of when we think of a hexagon, but it's still a hexagon because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So the same thing applies for other shapes. Just because a shape doesn't look like a stop sign doesn't mean it's not an octagon, because it can still have 8 sides, just not look that way. So what about shapes with less than 5 sides? So we haven't talked about those. So a shape with 3 sides is called a triangle, which is, it still has that part here, tri, which means 3. So it's similar to the other shapes in that manner, but instead of gon, like the others, it just has angle. But it's still, like the other shapes, named by the number of sides, or in this case, the number of angles, which is also the same as the number of sides. And then we have, for 4 sides, it's called a quadrilateral, where quad means 4, and lateral is just another name for side, just not gon like the other shapes. And you might be confused because you might be thinking, oh, 4 sides, I thought that's like a rectangle. Well, a rectangle is actually a part of one of the shapes that is called a quadrilateral. So rectangles, squares, and parallelograms are all types of quadrilaterals. They're just more specific. And there are other types of quadrilaterals too, such as trapezoids, kites, and rhombuses. That's going to be it for today's lesson. We have some helpful worksheets in the description below for you to practice with. And there's also a link to our website, which has even more worksheets on other subjects. Also, don't forget to subscribe and check out our channel to see more videos like these. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.